that is it. Like when you're open, that is to him just as important as the person who's healed. They just connect with information, different frequency, right? So,
because the information is there in the world. The keys are somewhere. There's information in this three-dimensional world of where they are.
Yeah, and in the quantum too. The information is in the quantum too, right? So the point is that the opportunities are endless if you're really getting good at dialing into information. So is it important to me? Absolutely. Do I know like the biological changes that take place of a person putting more attention on the unseen than on the seen, more attention on the immaterial than the material? If they do that for 7 days, I can tell you that their brain's going to be better. It's going to be more coherent. It's going to be less compartmentalized, less modulated. Their brains are going to look like they're on psilocybin. That's what our data shows. The default mode network in the brain is going to shut off, which means you're not going to be trying to always anticipate the next moment. You'll be more in the present moment. Your heart works better. Your microbiome changes dramatically without changing your diet. There's information in the plasma of advanced meditators that create an immunity to spike viruses. We've published a paper on it. We've isolated the protein, that information. There's information in the plasma of advanced meditators that shut off 70% of mitochondrial function in cancer cells just by interacting with that invisible field of energy, right? There's information that 100% of the people that we measured in 63 different diseases, 100% of them were making their own endogenous opioids, natural pain relievers that create euphoria, independent of the disease.
In the inner pharmacy, not something they're taking, but inside.
Just by connecting to information, that invisible field. There's information in the plasma of advanced meditators that create new nerve cells, growing new neurons, neurogenesis, right? So this field of order, this field of information, by connecting to it, the greater the order, the greater the information, the greater the frequency, the greater the consciousness, the greater the effects in our human biology. So we now know the breast milk of lactating moms at the end of 7 days, a completely different expression of breast milk, completely different. There's proteins in their milk that are anti-cancer, that promote all kinds of healing and wound healing. There's just a plethora of chemistry that's created from this interaction with this invisible field of energy. And I always say to the scientists, where is that information coming from? Where is it coming from? I mean, how can you have all these metabolites all of a sudden in the blood that weren't there before at the beginning of 7 days? Well, when the nervous system is tuned and the thinking brain is dialed down, your autonomic nervous system is the chemical brain. It is the emotional brain. It's going to begin to transduce the information in the form of frequency into biology and chemistry. And so all of these regulatory factors and metabolites are upregulating for growth, for repair. There's new neurons sprouting, right? The cell is greater than the environment. Put a virus there and it cannot enter the cell. You know, it downregulates the genes for Alzheimer's. It's royal blood. Like so this field is actually real. So that's the mystery. Like it's not like God, some white guy on the beard, on a laptop, keeping track of Lewis and going to send him to a hot place for all of eternity, or
right.
It's not that. It is the mystery of the unseen. It's the mystery. If the probability that we're perceiving the truth of reality is zero, it's zero. That's the mathematics. In other words, our brains are wired to filter out anything that's not material. We're basically seeing the wavelength, the small frequency band of visible light, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, that small bandwidth, that frequency is bouncing off the most stable form of energy called matter, and it's fooling us into this illusion of separation. That's a very small percentage of reality. That's less than 1% of reality.
Wow.
So then put less of your attention on the material and more of attention on the immaterial. Disinvest all of your attention out of three-dimensional reality and teach people that that field is real. Have them feel it. have them experience it, have them relax into it, have them fall in love with it, have them pay attention to it, stay aware of it, become more of it and less of them. Somehow that's reflected in their biology. There's dramatic changes that take place. So the mystery of whatever that is, God or whatever, to me, that's the excitement. And once again, the data is unbelievable. It's not like 10% of the population has a 2 standard deviation change in their right temporal lobe. It's not like that. It's like 77%, 84%, 90%, 95%, 100% of the community is having these effects at the end of 7 days.
Wow.
And think about it. I mean, we do genetic studies, independent of the person's genome, their individual genome. Genes make proteins. At the end of 7 days, people behaving in the same way, learning the same information, doing the same things, creating the same feelings. At the end of 7 days, 80% of the people are expressing the same genes, making the same proteins. That means there's an emergent consciousness that's taking place biologically when people behave in the same way that's reflected in their gene expression. In other words, the flock, the herd, the tribe is evolving collectively together because they're sharing the same consciousness. So people change people. Then you interact with somebody in that state, and the person's grateful, and you're in love, and they're in love, and you see the divine in them, and they see the divine in you, and you're coherent, and you're clear, and you've kind of managed your attention and your emotions, and you're kind of out of that personality. It's bound to start creating all kinds of health changes in people as a side effect of it.